Right. You ready?
Hey, I was born ready.
All right, get it. You wasn't born ready.
I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready.
Good, stop.
All right. I will you. Hey, thanks for joining us again. Today's topic is teach me how to love you.
Right.
Now I know you be like, you heard the song "Teach Me How to Dougie." This one's "Teach Me How to Love You," and the reason why we did this one is because it's like we skip over this as couples.
Mm-hmm.
We skip over like we'll complain about a certain situation, but we need to become better teachers in the relationship, because a lot of people don't know how to love the way that you want to be loved.
Right.
Like, I didn't grow up the way that you grew up, so my love may look a little bit different than your love.
Right.
But the loving thing that you could do is teach me how to love you the way that you want to be loved.
Right.
Instead of complaining about the love that I do give, or saying that it's not love, or you don't love me the right way, or let me look for love in all the wrong places. Instead of doing that, you can teach your spouse how to love you, right? And so that's what this episode is about.
Right. And the biggest question, Tim, the biggest question is ringing my mind now. How do you teach your spouse how to love you?
Well, that's the tips that we're going to give them today. So that's a nice segue into this one. Teach me how to Dougie. Teach me how to love you. That was a joke.
Okay.
All right.
Oh,
All right. So how can you teach your spouse how to love you the way that you want to be loved? And this is the thing, is that the lead by example. That's my tip number one. Lead by example. Be the example. I don't know who said this. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Mm-hmm. Like, instead of talking about the change that you want, become that change for your spouse. Be that example for your spouse. So, for instance, if you told me I don't love you, that would be like, what? What do you mean I don't love you? Yeah, I do love you. But what you're really communicating to me is that I don't love you the way that you want to be loved. Right. Like, you may want to be touched, right? You may want me to caress you and put my arms around you. So instead of nagging at me, do that to me. Like, if you want to be loved in a touching way, then touch your spouse, you know, and give them a back massage, right? And then you say, do you like that? And like, yeah, I do like that. And then you let them know, it's like, well, that's the same way I want to be touched. That's how I want to be loved, right? You're being an example for them. Like, you're not trying to prove a point, but you just want to be considerate to say, if I want to be loved this way, maybe you wasn't raised like that. So let me teach you how to love me the way I need to be loved. So you actually become your spouse's trainer. Right. And instead of complaining, you actually train them on the specific methods that you need to be touched.
Right. And then even when they do react, or, you know, let's say I want to be touched. So I'm touching on Tim. Tim starts touching on me back. I make a big deal about it, you know, just so he continuously, you know, do it.
Reinforcements, positive reinforcements. And that's actually is you got to reinforce good habits. Right. So when you teach your spouse how to love, it's like that hot and cold game where you be like, when you're getting closer to the object, you say hotter, hotter, hotter. Right. Or you're cold, cold, cold. Right. Like, you give your spouse reinforcement to let them know that they're loving you the way that you need to be loved. Like, ooh, baby, I love the way what you're doing right now. And let them know that, oh yeah, you're on the right track. So number 2 is positive reinforcements. Right. And then for that third one, just give your maybe you're not in a place where you can show them, but you can still teach by giving them the example. So maybe it's something on TV that you saw. Maybe it's a magazine or article that you read that explains how you want to be treated, and maybe you can share that with your spouse. Right. So you're giving them an example of the types of love that you want.
And be careful how you sharing it, though, you know, because I used to do that to Tim, like, you know, but it was so negative, you know, so of course he's not going to hear that, but I'll be like, well, so and so did this, or did you see what they're doing on
don't
TV?
do that.
Why you not doing that to me? Like that type of thing. I had to learn to teach him, how to love me.
So let's teach them. So in that situation, if I see something on TV or I see something that somebody else did, I can just say, man, that was so sweet. That's so sweet. That's how you love. I really appreciate what they did.
Right. Or you could say, oh, babe, look at that. That's nice. That's sweet. I'm going to do that for you. Yeah. And then that way, but in reality, I really want him to do it for me, but I'm saying I'm going to do it for him and hope, he'll see.
It registers that this is the way I want to be loved.
Right.
And just be patient with each other.
Right.
Right. Understand that we came from two different backgrounds, and you and your spouse came from two different backgrounds, raised in two different homes, raised by two different individuals who have two different backgrounds themselves. Mm-hmm. And all of that creates who you are today. Mm-hmm. So the way you love may not be the way that your spouse loves. And so when you say love, don't treat it as a common term, like it's all encompassing. Treat it as baseline, but understand there's different interpretations of that baseline.
Right.
So in order for them to understand your interpretation, you got to take the responsibility to teach them how to love. And that's not going to happen overnight.
It's not.
It's going to happen over time.
Right.
But over time, you're going to get to that place where your spouse is doing everything that they can do for you because you taught them. Right. You were patient with them and you taught them how to love you.
Right. I have nothing to say. He's right.
All right, till the next post.